Hello guys, back again with another video. Today is Job chapter 8. I've been saying that I'm going to do Job chapter 8 for the last couple videos, and the last couple videos haven't been Job chapter 8, so it's about time that I continued on with the series. I enjoy the series. I think Job's a book that has so much wisdom, as all the books of the Bible do, but I really enjoy reading Job. I think it's got that relatability. You know, it's probably one of the most relatable books in the Bible for everyone. Now, we might not go through as much suffering as Job does, but we all go through suffering. That's something we can all relate to. And you know, this is just a great book in showing how we don't know everything, and God's power, God's love, and loads of things. So enough of me talking. I'm going to start reading from Job chapter 8. So it says, "Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, How long will you say these things, Job? And how long shall the words of your mouth be as a mighty wind? Does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert righteousness? If your children have sinned against him, then he has delivered them into the power of their transgression. If you will seek God diligently and make your supplication to the Almighty, then if you are pure and upright, surely he will bestir himself for you and make your righteous dwelling prosperous again." So in the first 6 verses there, we got Bildad essentially opening with saying, "Job, why do you keep having these passionate outbursts and just, I guess, venting? You know, how long will you keep doing this?" By saying, you know, how long will you say these things, and how long shall your words of your mouth be as a mighty whirlwind? And then he goes on to say in verses 3 and 4, "Does God pervert justice, or does the Almighty pervert righteousness?" Essentially saying, you know, is God corrupt? And, you know, that's a rhetorical question that he's asking, because we know that God doesn't do that. And he goes on in verse 4 saying, "If your children have sinned against him, then he has delivered them into the power of their transgression." Essentially saying that he's saying that if they've sinned, then they've got punished for doing the sin, that kind of thing. But then he goes on to say, "If you will seek God diligently and make your supplication to the Almighty, then if you are pure and upright, surely he will bestir himself for you and make your righteous dwelling prosperous again." Essentially, if you turn away from your sinful ways and you start to follow the Lord again, he will uplift you. He will make your ways good, or make your life good, or that kind of thing, essentially. Yeah, so that's verses 7, or verses 1 to 6, so I'm starting from 7. "And though your beginning was small, yet your latter end would greatly increase. For inquire, I pray you, of the former age, and apply yourself to that which their fathers have searched out. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not the forefathers teach you, and tell you in utter words out of their hearts? Can the rush or papyrus grow up without marsh? Can the flag or reed grass grow without water? While it is yet green in flower, and not cut down, it withers before any other herb. So are the ways of all who forget God, and the hope of the godless shall perish." So essentially saying that, you know, a bit of a metaphor going on, that these plants without water, without the essential things that plants need to grow and flourish, they're not going to survive. They're going to die. They're going to have a bad, short life. And so is the person that forget God, the people that forget God, that don't follow God's ways, that don't have a relationship with God. For his confidence breaks, and his trust is a spider's web. He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. He shall hold fast to it, but it shall not last. He is green before the sun, and his shoots go forth over his garden. His roots are wrapped about the heap, and see their way among the rocks. But if God snatches him from his property, then having passed into the hands of others, it denies, saying, I have never seen you before, as if ashamed of him, like its former friends. See, this is the joy of going the way of the ungodly, and from dust others will spring up to take his place. Behold, as surely as God will never uphold wrongdoers, he will never cast away a blameless man. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with joyful shouting. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the tents of the wicked shall be no more. So essentially, he described, a godless man that, had his roots wrapped around a stone, describing God taking him away, and essentially, I guess, another metaphor of, at the end of life, he's gone only for another person to be replacing him. And he says, this is the way of the ungodly, He says, see, this is the joy of going the way of the ungodly, should I say. But then he proceeds to encourage Job at the end of the chapter, saying, behold, as surely as God will never uphold wrongdoers, he will never cast away a blameless man. So essentially just encouraging Job to get right with God. And we know how God treats the blameless man. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with joyful shouting. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the tents of the wicked shall be no more. So he finishes off just by giving words of encouragement to Job, which is, I guess, what a friend should do. But that being said, that's Job chapter 8. I'll see you guys. Likely the next video is going to be chapter 9. I don't know, it could be something else, but I am still continuing this series. So thank you guys for your patience, still clocking in and watching my videos, taking your time out your day to watch. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one.